Now they have music.
No, no, no.
Eric, we're just doing an interview, so cool. Can we cut the music for like 5 minutes? 10? Thank you. My name's David Silverberg. I'm the artistic director of Toronto Poetry Project, which puts on the Toronto Poetry Slam, our BAM Youth Slam for youth, and various poetry initiatives across the GTA. A slam is a spoken word competition whereby poets take the stage, like this one tonight, and do their poems, and judges from the audience score each poem between 0 to 10, basing their judgment both on content and performance. So in their mind, it has to be written well, but also performed well, whatever that means. Poets move on through rounds and can win the final round and $80 as the top prize. The judges are given basic instructions of judging between 0 to 10 to one decimal place using scorecards that we provide, much like the Olympics would judge a figure skating kind of trick. So they're told to judge both on content and performance, whatever that means to them. So in their mind, they have to take into mind the rhythm, the pacing, the voice of the poet, while also taking into consideration the actual writing quality of the poems that are being produced. Well, I think a spoken word poem is always written with the idea that's going to be presented on the stage. A written poem is often written to be absorbed by the reader, to be read over again, and for it to be reviewed. A poem on the stage sometimes just lives once and then disappears. And so the approach to the writing process is a little different than for the average poet when you're on stage. And I think you can employ things such as rhythm, movement. You can have more than one person on stage with you to do a duet and a threesome kind of piece. So there's a lot of more possibilities, I think, with spoken word than it would be with just linear writing kind of poetry. The approach that the spoken word poet takes is really going to be individual, but I always find the most impacting spoken word is one that is very real, is honest, and doesn't try to use $10 words to impress you. Just be confident in your voice, because it could be intimidating to be on that stage, the people judging you. I would say enjoy what you're doing because you're supposed to love the idea of performing. It shouldn't make you nervous. If it does, it does, then that's the way the world works. Thirdly, I would say is don't let the numbers dictate who you are. If you get a 5.5, don't think that you are a 5.5. Realize it's just one person's take on your poetry. There's 5 judges with 5 different takes on your poetry. This is not going to be your grandma's kind of poetry. This is going to be stuff about visceral things happening in the GTA, about love, about sex, about relationships, about politics, about pop culture. And so I think it upends what a lot of people think about traditional poetry and makes it a bit more relevant and exciting and immediate to them, so that they feel like, hey, this is actually talented artists that I'm seeing, as opposed to people being derivative or playing the top 40 or trying to emulate someone they're not. These are people being who they are, which is kind of gratifying to see in this world of a lot of masks. Slam poets come from a wide background, everything from young writers and students to married men who love to come to slams with their wives and just access a part of themselves they never were able to access before. We've got people who come from hip-hop backgrounds, people who come from folk writing backgrounds, people who come from acting backgrounds. So it's really a big buffet. Someone who says, why poetry, I would say, well, why any art? Why music? Why theater? Why dance? Because they're all trying to say one thing, which is pay attention. I got something important to say, and pay attention. And I think poetry is one of the more visceral and raw ways to say that without having to know, let's say, a lot about music or a lot about the art of dance. We all are communicative creatures who talk in English, at least here today in Toronto. And I think when poetry is at its best, it's able to communicate something to the audience that is going to hit them right in their solar plexus and make them feel something right away. And I think that's really rare for a lot of art to have these days. And I think that's why this community itself is very tight and very supportive. Go to TorontoPoetrySlam.com for more info. I had to help, Pocket.